So after 22 meetings with my Platinum Plus group, I don't know why I've never done this, but I'm doing a little mini series and interviewing a bunch of them. And now we're interviewing Sebastian Knight, who's been in Plus for 8 years now, since the very beginning. And you've had some remarkable results. You said you have grown your bottom line, your profit, by a factor of 8.
Yes, 8 times.
Which is amazing. But you're also working 8 times less. 8 times less. So I want to quantify that and talk about that, because lots of people don't know Sebastian's actually an engineer. So he keeps track of these, and he can do the calculations on that. So that, by my math, that's 8 times 8 is your
64 times more output per hour that I work. Yes.
How do you even do that?
So lots of things. First thing is PLF. So we have our launches every year. That's the big part of how the company has grown and our positioning on the market. The second part is, being in Plat Plus brought so many breakthroughs in how can I make my impact larger and deeper with my audience, and how do I convince people that did not know me before to find out about what I do and then to buy one of our trainings or consulting programs. And I'm addressing specifically the French-speaking market, so French, Belgium, Switzerland, and a little bit of Africa. So the challenge was people were not used to buying courses online. When I joined Plat Plus and I launched my first launch to that audience, it's like I had to explain, like, an online course is like a seminar, but it's on the internet. So so being in Plat Plus helped me get so many of the shifts, that some of the things that seemed impossible to me, I was able to still do them, even while they still seemed impossible. So we are in Colorado now, and we just had a day of meetings. And one of the things I remember from today, like one of the takeaways that crystallizes this, is you had Steve Pavlina sharing that sometimes the story we have about our limiting beliefs is that we think the limiting belief prevents us from getting the success, but actually you could still get the success while holding the belief if you had the right people with you to just prod you to actually do the thing.
Right.
So
you said sometimes the limiting belief is that you have limiting beliefs.
Exactly, yeah. So it's easier to just say, well, I have a limiting belief, so that's why it's not going to work. What's the challenge is to say, well, I may have the belief, but let me just put it in on a shelf for a while and do what these amazing people have shared with me, because it's worked with a dog trainer and it's worked with an herbalist and it's worked, so maybe it could work with my people. So that's helped the 8x in bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And the
and I'm going to stop there. I guess one of the innovations that I think you really brought to Plus is Evergreen.
Yes.
I don't know if you were the first person to do Evergreen, but you were the first person to really drive that forward.
So I did it at the same time as Erico, and I had consulted with him on how to do his.
Yeah. Okay, so I interrupted you. You're about to start talking about 8 times less work.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So when I joined Plat, I was working like all the time, all week, every single day of the week, every week, and I was working the full day, not even pausing for lunch or dinner. Like, I ate in front of my computer.
That's not the French way.
Not the French way. My then girlfriend, who's now my wife, I remember at the end of 2010, she said, well, I think your issue is that you're alone and you are, so because you're not surrounded by people that have the same impulses and way of seeing the world, you're like trying to just be on the computer all the time, to not be in this empty reality of the outside world. So she was the one that said, well, you got to join some group somewhere. So I went to the Chamber of Commerce, I went to like local organizations, and still it's like I did not connect as well with people that were, didn't have this whole let's share content and bring value before we sell. it didn't mesh. And then you made the offer of you were starting a band and of people that would resonate with your values. And I said, I'm joining.
Yeah.
And it made a difference because there were so many opportunities sharing with people in the group that I could see a lot of the work I was doing was fluff, and that if I could focus on the less than 20% of the effort that drove more than 80% of the results, it would help a lot. And I achieved that with two things, if I can share quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
So the first thing is, probably, I think you've shared on your channel before the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. What happened is in 2016, a member of the group talked about that and said that like some of their products were bringing more results than the others to the business. And I said, well, we need to make that analysis. We had 40 different trainings, 40. And we made the math, and over a year, out of the 40 products, we had, so it went like this. So product A was bringing this amount of profit, product B was bringing this amount, and then the third one was like this, and then it went like this. So two products were bringing 96% of the revenue and profit in the year. I'm like, why don't we just focus on just these two? Or maybe just one, and because we just take all of our focus on one thing, it's going to be less effort and better results. So that was a big key, and the other one was having evergreen systems in place on top of the one-off webinars or launches, so that even while I'm doing this video, I'm being paid. I can't remember what the number was, but an absurd amount per hour of sleeping, eating, playing with my daughter. All of that time, I'm still getting paid, which is a big deal.
And so I don't think you actually mentioned, but you are now, because you were working every single day, no
Yes.
breaks,
Yeah.
and now you work 1 day a week.
Yes, so I was working most weeks more than 80 hours a week. Because I would start working around 7 a.m. and would work until past midnight many times. And now I'm working just 1 day a week, which is Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you've got a baby daughter.
I have a baby daughter. So the big deal last year was when I learned that Cécile, my wife, was pregnant. I said, by the time Cécile comes back to her line of work, she's a school teacher, we don't want to have a nanny. So I'm going to be there on the 2 days that Cécile is at school, so that and then so 2 days I'm with Alice, just with the baby. Wednesday I'm with Cécile and Alice. Thursday I'm working. Friday is my day. Like I get to play guitar and read comics and go like skiing or whatever, and then we have the weekend together. So just Thursday is my day.
And that's how you 64 times your capability or your efficiency or the power of your time.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Scroll down, leave a comment for Sebastian. And is that inspirational or what? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.